Sign-ups for GamersCast Super Smash Brothers Brawl tournaments are now open. To sign up, go to GamersCastPodcast.com/tournaments. Want to be able to download stages for Super Smash Brothers Brawl from the internet and play them on your Wii? Well, now you can with GamersCast Brawl Custom Stage Collection. For more information, go to brawlstages.blogspot.com. Hey guys, it's Matthew Goldsman from GamersCast, and here is my review of Super Smash Brothers Brawl for the Nintendo Wii, rated T for Teen. Super Smash Brothers Brawl was originally intended for the Wii launch, then delayed again. So, was this thrice extended wait worth it? Absolutely. Since the day Melee came out, fans begged for a sequel to the game, and this time Nintendo did deliver in a huge way. It actually quickly became the best-selling game Nintendo has ever produced in their entire company history. So let's get into it. The core gameplay stays true to the classic formula that made Smash a hit back on the N64. It's a 3D fighting style that lots of companies have tried to pull off, but nobody else but Nintendo's been able to do it so far. And like the transition from the original to the Melee, the transition to Brawl has made the game even more hectic than before. The actual gameplay itself might seem slower for some characters, but it gets really crazy. From all the new items, moves, power-up stages, it goes on. The gameplay can get so insane that I'd really recommend using a TV, the biggest you have in your house, because otherwise if you're doing it on a small screen, the game can actually be a bit difficult to keep up with. And as in the last game, you'll be spending most of your time in the standard Brawl mode, if you're not playing online, that is. As before, there's no really new battle mode, so typically be sticking to the 2-minute timed or 5-stock matches. But the gimmicky special modes from Melee have also made a return, except this time they've been more organized, so you can activate as many of them as you want at once into one special brawl. And even the gimmicky camera mode has been fixed this time, and now you can take a snapshot at any time during gameplay except for online, and take a snapshot of it. If you missed a shot, you can just save a video and just go and take another snapshot if you missed it, and can take as many as you want as long as they can fit into an SD card, so you're pretty much good. Only problem is videos that you save have to be under 3 minutes. Of course, you can send them to anyone else along with the pictures that you take. Well, one of the features that will keep people coming back for more from Brawl would be the stage builder. In fact, this will keep you coming back every day. Why? Because every day, Nintendo is featuring a new stage for download online. So every day, you can get one new downloadable stage from Nintendo. Of course, you can't save these stages, and they'll be overwritten the next day, unfortunately. Which is a bit sad, which is why I made the Brawl Custom Stage Collection. If there's a featured stage you really liked and want to get back, you can just hop on the Brawl Stages at blogspot.com and get it back. So, I pretty much solved that problem. But yeah, for the stage builder, there's 3 basic backgrounds and sizes to choose from when making your stage, but you can choose from any one of the 300 plus songs from the soundtrack. Most of the pieces in the stage builder are pretty basic. There are some gimmicky parts to use and structures you can add, like springs and Ferris wheels. And with these parts, there adds a really huge, great variety to the gameplay, leading to a nearly unlimited amount of stages, gameplay, and new strategies to come up with. Speaking of the soundtrack, probably one of the greatest soundtracks to ever be made in the history of gaming. Nintendo had over 36 composers composing over 300 tracks from systems as early as the Game & Watch to as late as the Wii. And while you find some music tracks are in their original MIDI form, many more have been updated, remixed, and even orchestrated, which is great. You'll have popular tracks that you've come to know and love, like the Super Mario theme, but you'll also get to hear some lesser-known tracks that you may never have heard of before, like Navi's Cooking Time, and another little game called X. And the game's My Music feature gives you a nice variety of music each time you play by allowing you to choose the likelihood of a song coming up when you pick a stage, which is a very nice feature as well. In Brawl, there's over 40 characters, more than 40 stages, dozens of new items, and nearly 1,000 unlockables to choose from. Of course, lots of these unlockables Nintendo's are calling challenges, which is ultimately the equivalent of an Xbox Live achievement. Also, to replace the lottery mode for Melee is the new coin launcher, in which case you start rapidly shooting the coins you've earned in battle at trophies and stickers and enemies in the coin launcher, and it's pretty satisfying for the most part. If you're low on coins, you can hop online and go into a special mode called Spectator, in which case you can watch a match going on online, and you can gamble coins you have on it, and pretty much triple what you bet. All the stickers and trophies you unlock can be viewed in the album, where you can arrange them in cute little patterns and take screenshots of them. But of course, the hugest feature in Brawl is the online play. I already mentioned Spectator mode, but you can also battle with complete strangers from around the region. Why region, not world? Well, typically, if Brawl is played over a wide distance, it can stand as a factor. So if you've got a friend in Japan who wants to play with you, it might not be the best idea to connect with them. But playing with strangers, you can do a standard free-for-all match, which is a 2-minute brawl, or a tag team battle. You can also play with your own friends online and send short, quick little messages to them while you're playing in the form of taunts. You can also play the home run contest and multi-man brawls online as well, which is pretty nice and fun. And most matches are perfectly lag-free, given that you have a good connection. And let's say someone drops out of a match. They'll seamlessly be swapped out with the computer player, uninterrupting the match, which has always been a huge problem with Nintendo games. And if you hate the long waits in matchmaking, this time around the matchmaking is pretty short, but even if there happens to be a long wait on one day for one particular reason, you can just beat up on a sandbag and train and practice while you're waiting. It definitely does pass the time by, it really does. Next is the stadium. Event matches were redesigned so that there's now 2 individual sets of them. One set is meant for solo, one player, and the other set was meant to be done in co-op. But altogether, it's about the same number of matches as there were in Melee. Although, you can have difficulty settings on the event matches now, which can add to a nice challenge later on. Break the Targets is back and completely redesigned. However, now there's only 5 stages, one for each level of difficulty, ranging from very easy to intensely hard. This could be a good thing or a bad thing, but ultimately it comes down to whether you prefer quality or quantity. So, yeah. And like I mentioned, Home Run Contest is back too, except now there's a little shield on the outside of the platform, so you can just beat up the sandbag, and you don't have to be as careful as you would in Melee to make sure not to, knock him out. Except, of course, after a certain amount of abuse, the shield will eventually break. So you have a bit more freedom, but you still have to keep on your toes and be careful not to break it. And like I said, multi-man brawl is also back, except this time around it's pretty much the same as last time, except it's a pinch harder, and certain characters from the game will make an appearance, though they're pretty much just as hard as the metal alloy enemies. And lastly, in the stadium, is the new boss battle mode, which is exactly like All-Star mode was in Melee, which has also made a return in Brawl, except this time it's just 10 bosses from the Subspace Emissary and Classic mode. First 9 bosses you fight are in random order, but their strength and skill are designed so that each boss you face will be harder than the last. This can also be done in co-op as well. And Classic mode is also back, except race to the finish and get the trophy minigames were taken out. Instead, you'll just be doing break the targets additional times instead. But what could be one of the biggest changes in Brawl is that there's an actual adventure mode now called the Subspace Emissary. This is done very well with theatrical graphic cutscenes, and there's no dialogue, but honestly, if you think about it, it's probably better off that way, as they give very detailed facial expressions, so you pretty much get what's going on for the most part. Pretty much all the stages in this are laid out as a side-scrolling platformer, with occasional stops to take out a slew full of enemies. And also, it's done as like a map sort of game. It's map-based, but depending on how you finish the stage, it can lead to different paths in the story mode, though ultimately they'll all arrive at the same ending. Some reviewers have complained that the Subspace Emissary feels out of place because the control scheme wasn't made for a platformer, but you can't really complain about this because Nintendo now gives you the opportunity to customize the control button layouts for all of the 4 controllers that you can use on the game. And you can save your control configurations to the Wii remote and take them to a friend's house, so you don't have to toggle and mess up their settings as well, which is also a nice change. The main appeal of the Super Smash Bros. Series was, one, having a 3D 4-player fighting game, and the other was having pretty much every Nintendo character facing off with each other, except this time they included Sonic and Snake from Konami and Sega. But now, a lot of gamers didn't know where some of these characters were coming from or have never seen them before until they saw them in a Smash Bros. Game. So now, this time around, Nintendo has in the game what they're calling masterpieces. These are trial versions of 12 classic Nintendo games, all of which can be purchased from the Wii Shop channel. This is a nice idea, except for one thing. The trials are amazingly short. Both the F-Zero and Donkey Kong demos are only 30 seconds long. 30 seconds! I mean, look at this. I mean, it's awful. I mean, every Zelda game ever has always had a 20-minute demo. This time around, Ocarina of Time is in here, but you only get 5 minutes. 5 minutes for something that's usually 20. But some games have multiple save states, so you get a fresh taste 1 or 2 times. But as we all know, Super Smash Brothers Melee stood the test of time by having enough appeal to make it still played to this very day. Super Smash Brothers Brawl appears to have even more lasting appeal than Melee did. From the multiple paths of adventure mode to thousands of unlockables to the great lag-free online play, Brawl is probably one of the best. Brawl is definitely the dominant game in the series and could last you into the next Super Smash Brothers game if that ever comes around, even if it's not for another 10 years or so. So, in conclusion, I give Super Smash Brothers Brawl a 9.9 out of 10.